Hi there, this is Tommy Cods from the deck of the Salt of the Sea, and this video is going to be the advanced feature of qtVlm in creating what's called pathways. Okay, we started off with a clean slate. My boat is positioned down here, and what you're doing when you're creating a pathway is you're creating a voyage where you're going to stop at multiple points. And what qtVlm will do when you start creating your routings and routes, it'll use that pathway and select the best directions and wind angles to sail to arrive at each one of those points in the fastest possible time. So the way you create a pathway, and I'll show you how to create one and then how to use one, is you come up here to pathway and say create pathway. I'm going to leave it as the default color. It's kind of a maroon color. Let's change the name on it and call it My Path. And we're going to route. I'm going to say route from the first mark instead of from the boat. And there's a reason I did that. I'll show you this in a minute. And so the first thing you want to do is click on what's called append points of interest. So we're going to go ahead and click right here, and we're going to put one pretty close to where the boat is, like right there. And you notice it created a point of interest, and it always seems to point of interest 0, 1, 0. Let's say the second point we want to go to is this island right here, so we'll create a point of interest right there. And it's just appending these different points along our route. We'll go up to the Dominican. We'll create our point right there, and then we'll create one last one here over to Kingston, Jamaica. And so it created a final point there, and it's only a final if you come up here and say stop appending points. And there we have our pathway created. Now, one of the things I found out with pathways is you can't go in here and insert another. Let's say we wanted to stop over here at Puerto Rico. You can't come in here and insert another point right in here. What you have to do is come over here and move this point to here. Come over here and move your Jamaica point over the Dominican. Put that over there. And then you go up to your pathway and say edit my pathway and append another point. And we'll put that right there over to Jamaica and say stop. So you can't insert points in the pathway. You have to append them to the end. Okay, so there's our pathway. It's created. Now this is how you use the pathway. You come over here to routing and you say create a route, and you come over here and click use pathway, and we're going to call it path RT, and we'll call this PT or whatever we want. And we're going to go ahead and actually make the route, so we have that box checked. We click OK, and now you notice it created the route from the first mark to the first point, then over to the next point, over to the next point, and over the next point. And we say OK. And we're going to create it with maximum, and we say OK. And it creates our route over to Jamaica with stops at all those intermediate points. So that's the basis of using pathways. One of the things that you can do if you want to start at one point and finish at that same point, one of the things that you can do here is go over to your pathway, say edit my pathway, and do what's called close the pathway. And what it's going to do is it's going to take your last appended point and close it up to the very first point on your path. And you see it drew this line all the way down here. And from there, let's go ahead and create another routing. We're going to create it using the path. Let's change the color. I didn't change the color on my original one. And let's, I'll just leave the name the default name. And now it creates a path all the way around from my starting point. My finishing point is going to be right back where I initially started. And it's going to take about 9 days to complete that trip. That seems like a pretty nice trip as long as there's no hurricanes coming through the Caribbean. Well, that's it for now, and that's how you use pathways in qtVlm. Go ahead and play around with it. You may find it interesting to use. I know I spend a lot of time in racing. I'm not sure if it's something that you would use in racing, but for your when you're setting up a multi-week voyage, could be something that comes in very interesting. It's going to give you the shortest path from all these different points, and it's going to make for some exciting sailing. Well, that's it for now. I hope to see you all on leg 8 of the VOR. It's going to start this weekend, and we'll see you there.